So, Rough Rider knives. I haven't had the best experience over the past 2 years, something like that, with Rough Rider. Generally, I buy a knife that I think looks interesting or cool, and then I'm severely disappointed with the quality. Um, and it seems like a lot of people get really good versions. I think I've just been unlucky. But I've gotten a couple good ones. Both my sunfishes that I got from Rough Rider were pretty good. Um, and I think there's a couple others that I have probably done videos on that were fairly decent. Um, but this one may be one of my favorite Rough Rider knives that I've received to date. Um, so Rough Rider's branching out into some more carbon steel knives. So this is a classic carbon. I think they call it a half hawk, and this is in black micarta. And for once, the micarta actually feels like micarta and not like plastic. This side's really rough, which I think is probably unintentional, and then this side's more polished or sanded down. But it actually feels like a linen micarta on this side, and then on this side it feels like canvas micarta. So it's kind of funny. Um, but it actually feels like linen micarta instead of feeling like plastic like the denim micarta Rough Riders do. If you've gotten those, you'll pretty much know what I'm talking about there. Cool shield on it. I think it's a pewter shield. Um, Tobias did a video on this about how the 25 is weird. Does have the date 1994, which is the year I was born, so that's kind of cool. I guess that's the year Rough Rider started. Um, and then this is like a sway back sheep's foot type design, kind of like a Great Eastern Cutlery 93 or like a Otter Messer anchor knife. Of course, I won't compare like the quality to those knives because those knives are, well, the Otter Messer's like three times the price of this. You can get those for around $55. This knife was, I think, $15. And sheep's foot blade. It's carbon steel, T10 carbon. I might actually carry and use this knife here. In fact, I probably will carry and use this knife at least a little bit. So I might actually get an update for you guys for how the T10 carbon steel starts to look after you use it for stuff like cutting food and everything. Because up till now, I haven't really used either of the other two carbon steel Rough Riders that I have, just because I wasn't super impressed with them. Um, but this one I do like quite a bit. Like I said, it's like a super cheap 93 or a anchor knife. Action on the knife, not great. I think it still needs to be cleaned out a little bit, but it does snap open pretty good, and the back spring has enough pressure to keep the blade open, which is good. Um, Centering, not great. Um, Definitely favors one side, but if you can see here, it is just it is just off of that liner, which is the important part to me. That's not actually hitting that liner. So I'm good with it. Some people will be a little bit upset by the centering on this, but with it being a like $15 knife or whatever, I'm not really that concerned about it. I just get upset when the blade is full on touching the liner. And even if it's just touching the liner a little bit, it's not that big of a deal. But when it starts to like touch the liner when you're not even closed yet, that's kind of a big deal for me because then like it could mess up the edge of the knife and everything. Um, I don't really care that much about centering on, especially on traditional knives because they're pinned together. So I don't really care that much. Um, but it is off center, but it's not touching the liner, which is what I care about. Like I said, action's not great on close anyway. On open, it actually is pretty good, but I think it just needs to be cleaned out a little bit more. I did put some mineral oil in the pivot area to try to work out all that grit because, as people know who get these Rough Rider knives, They do generally come pretty filthy in that area. Uh, but yeah, edge grind. This side's little bit bigger than this side, I think. Not a big deal, just one of those little like appearance things. And this is a $15 knife, so I wouldn't worry about it. I've seen worse grinds on case knives. Um, but yeah, I mean, it feels good in hand. It's a rather large knife. Yeah, you can get an idea there. These squares are inches, so handle's about 4 inches long. The blade's about 3 inches long. About fairly good sized knife, comfortable in hand, like swaybacks are, in either grip. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm fairly impressed with this knife. Uh, and the cool thing about Rough Riders, with them being so affordable, I might actually decide to order a couple more of these because, like I said, they are very affordable. Um, but it'll depend on how everything goes here in these next couple months, probably. But anyway, that is the Rough Rider Half Hawk, the single blade Half Hawk. There is a double blade version of this in the denim that I was talking about that kind of feels like plastic. I didn't order that one because I didn't really like the denim micarta stuff that came on that Barlow that I got a while ago because it felt like plastic. I'm much more impressed with this micarta than I was with that. Um, yeah, I mean it's a pretty nice knife. Something else I forgot to mention, it's got this blue, probably G10 underneath the micarta, which is just a little subtle thing, but yeah. Um, yeah, that's the Rough Rider Half Hawk in the classic carbon series with the black micarta. And that's going to be it for this video. And I hope you guys have a good day.